Yusuf Estes, and I'm looking for something. Actually, I'm looking for someone. Is that someone you? I want dawah partners, and you can be my dawah partner right now. It's real easy. Just go to dawahpartners.com, sign up, and join me. There are 3 things that I would like for you to be able to do. Any one of them or all of them. Beautiful. Number 1, you will make dua. So you can be our dawah partner, even if you don't go to the website, but I hope you do. Number 2, share. Share this message and let other people know about becoming dawah partners. And number 3, help us financially. Donate on a monthly basis, even if it's small. Allah loves the thing that you do regularly, even if it's small, more than the thing that you do that's really big, but you only do it once. Join me as a dawah partner. Do it now. Click, 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 click.
A way of life, a way of life, a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life, a complete way.
The wise old owl says we all need guidance in our life. So remember, get guided with Guide Us TV.
On Guide Us TV. And remember, tell everyone, stay guided. With Guide Us TV.
Stay guided with Guide Us TV.
Guide Us TV, first Islam.
And we are coming to you live. We're not actually here at the Kaaba. We're watching it rain right now. If you'd like to see this, tell everybody to tune in. I think this is a good chance to share this. MashaAllah. Sister Kim is with us. Sister Kim, salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you doing today?
Well, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Everybody is doing good here. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. And yeah, we were just showing everybody how it's raining at the Kaaba. At the Kaaba in Mexico, not Mexico, in Mecca. Yeah. Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh, it is raining and the people are just going crazy over there. That is a truly amazing thing. Look at this. If you haven't ever shared anything before, this is your chance to do so right now. Let people enjoy seeing it rain at the Kaaba. Because keep in mind that the Kaaba is in Mecca, and Mecca is in the middle of a desert, and the desert is in the middle of the heat wave, and yeah. So this is really strange right now, mashallah. MashaAllah ta'ala. Look at these kids having fun, playing and running. Oh, sliding. Oh, look at that. Look. Oh, my goodness gracious. MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
That's absolutely amazing. And living in the desert, I live in the Sonoran Desert. And I can say from experience that when it rains in the desert, you either get what we call a 6-inch rain, which means there's 6 inches between raindrops, or it is just a downpour.
Yeah, a flood. Yeah, actually, that's what they're going through. This, and Mecca has always had a problem when it does rain. It has a downpour, just as you said. And the interesting thing about this is that when you're there, no matter what they try to do, they're never able to really get a handle on the idea of drainage. I don't know why, but it just and they put in huge drains. I mean, you could stand up in them and walk around. But anyway, alhamdulillah. Wow, that was mashallah, mashallah, mashallah. Don't say wow, say mashallah. Mashallah. That was really something. I wanted to share that with everybody. And well, while we're at it, I think that this is a good chance to share something else too, about something about. Yeah, listen to this. How do you feel whenever your daughter sends you a text message? She went to maybe the store, to the mall somewhere, and she sent you a text message. She says, "Hey, Mom, guess what I want for Christmas?" Now, as Muslims, we don't even celebrate Christmas, but that isn't the point, is it? The point is, take a look again. Where is that? And those are not toy guns, by the way. If you thought that they were in the toy department of Walmart, and they're not. That is a real place that sells weapons, and I'm not just talking about. There's a difference between a shotgun and a machine gun. Let's say it like that. There's a lot of difference, because there is something that I enjoyed when I was a youngster and growing up, really, and that was to go hunting with my BB gun, with my air rifle. These things really it was enjoyable. I equate it to somebody that plays golf, because you go out there by yourself and you go in the woods, or you go out into the pastures and so on, and you look for birds or something that you want to shoot at, and very often you miss, okay? But if you do shoot something, you take it home, you eat it. But this is not what we're talking about. The weapons that we're talking about right now are the weapons that get somebody in serious trouble, and they can go to jail, or they can kill somebody, and then they can oh, yeah. Sister, this is what I wanted to start off the program with. Do you know anything about weapons?
I know quite a bit about weapons. Everything from prehistoric weapons. I used to do a lot of survival training, and so I learned how to make my own weapons, like early man did, and up through modern weapons such as bows and guns. And as a matter of fact, right now the only weapon that I have is a long bow. It's about 5 feet long, and it's the same type of bow that they would have used in the Middle Ages.
Okay. Well, what I had a chance to do and to learn about was what's going on in the world with weapons, and then in the research, I had the opportunity to learn about what I call rocks to rockets. Let me see if I can put that up for everybody to have a look at it. And yeah, here we go. This is the story right here of rocks to rockets. Let me read it to you. Inshallah, I'm going to read this for everybody to have a chance to understand how serious this really is. I said from rocks to rockets, or how to get the most bang for the buck. This is full of innuendos and puns as you go along, so it makes something a little interesting for you to kind of feel as you're going through it, you know. So it starts 5,000 years ago, and actually I read something. It indicated that it should have been maybe even more than that. But this research was done quite a while back, before they realized that human beings have been walking on this planet for over 20,000 years BC. Anyway, so it's the timeline here is 5,000 years ago and until today. It's that 5,000 years ago, weapons were used, but they're not hunting tools. These are not for hunting. They're just rocks tied to sticks so they could smash some bones and skulls of their enemies, but not so good for hunting. All right? 2,000 years ago, metal was forged into and beaten into swords to get the edge over the enemies. Okay, another pun. Edge of the sword, edge of the... Anyway, okay. Later they were made into plows for planting. All right? So, along the way, caveman, maybe he would have had a lot of fun with the missile. We have the airplanes today. We call them drones. You can control them by your phone or a little handheld deal. And as you're doing that, then you can actually do a lot of things. You can take pictures, which is what we do. But other people can use these to shoot guns or missiles and so on. So imagine a caveman having fun with a missile armed drone firing away at enemies on the other side of the earth. Oh, wait. That's right. He didn't even know the earth was round yet. So anyway, for simple rocks to impressive records, it's all about who has the most killing power. 200 years ago, gunsmiths invented percussion caps and cartridge ammunition. That was for less misfires. And smokeless powder, so that the burning situation for the people getting burned from the black powder, it didn't so much singe their hair and eyebrows. Okay? 1884, this came with what's called the recoil weapon, or weapon recoil. The increase of bullets per minute. Hiram Maxim, the Maxim gun, put it all together in his 500 bullets per minute over 1 mile away, recoil operated, belt fed, water cooled, precision killing machine gun. And it is a fact, over 20,000 British soldiers died as helpless targets for the Germans armed with these machine guns, all in one day. 20,000 in one day. All right? Now, in 1940s, that brought the big one, the A-bomb. Not just a bomb, the A-bomb, the atomic bomb. Nuclear war was declared on enemies of the so-called free world. Note, nothing here is really free. The A-bomb was dropped on Hiroshima and in Japan. By the way, I have been there and I've seen what it did. Nagasaki and Hiroshima, you can't imagine how they have turned this into a museum. They bring their kids out there in busloads and they let them experience this first-hand information. And you know what? One of the things I was so in admiration of the Japanese people, because they didn't turn this into a hate thing. No, they did not. The essence of what I felt when I was there is a lesson to learn how to cooperate with others, and a lesson in how not to blame people. This was an amazing lesson for me. I never dreamed that a government would be teaching their children this way. This is not from a religious point of view, by the way. They were just, and I think, admitting to the fact that everything has to happen a certain way. Once it's happened, there's nothing you can do about it. But what you can do is move forward, and when you move forward, you're going to carry the baggage with you, or you're not. All right? You can choose, and this is one of the things that I learned from them. You can choose where you want to go, where you want to, how you want to think. But you cannot choose to change the past. This is something that we learn in Islam as well. And I thought that this was a good opportunity for us to reflect on that. And while I was there, I talked about this, that the Islamic presentation of this same subject, whatever is done is done. You can't choose anymore because it's already done. But you can choose not to have this grief overwhelm you. You can choose not to blame. You can choose to move forward and find something good out of what you have left. And that's exactly what they did. And I commented about that in my talk to them. And the ones that invited me there to talk were the Muslims, of course, but it was not for a Muslim event. It was for a Buddhist event. Yeah. And the Buddhists really were, and these were Buddhist priests that were sitting in the front row. And I was kind of shocked. And I asked the brothers there, I said, how am I supposed to give a presentation at their event? This is their annual event. But again, you see, this is the thinking of people, the right-minded thinking. And that was that if you want to learn something about a religion or a place, then you get somebody from that place or from that religion. If you want to know something about space, talk to somebody that's been out there in space. If you want to know something about rockets, talk to somebody that deals in that. And if you want to know something about weapons, then talk to people that know. And that's what we were doing essentially to get this story for you. And I'm going to come back to that. Okay, so from the 1960s, well, wait a minute, I skipped over something. Yeah. The A-bomb, there it is. The A-bomb with the United States dropped in Hiroshima, Japan, instantly. Now, imagine, this is instantly killed over 70,000 people. Boom. They were all dead like that. And if that wasn't enough, the radioactive fallout killed over 1 million more from long-term agonizing death from this radiation. Yes. So over 1 million people died as a result of these. The one bomb in Hiroshima, they didn't even talk about Nagasaki. Nagasaki is, of course, another place there in Japan that United States hit. And by the way, I don't like to say we, because at the time they did that, I was only 1 year old. So don't blame me for that. The next thing I want to talk about Russia. Now, they built something called Settlement. And NATO, called it Satan. And they built it to do 2,000 more times destruction than these bombs that we've been just talking about. They could destroy a country. They could destroy a place on earth bigger than the state of Texas or the country of France. You choose. Yeah. Actually, don't choose one, because I like both places. I like Texas and I like France, so don't choose that. So this nuclear warfare went ballistic into outer space with missiles, satellites, space stations, and of course, rockets. And that's why we called it Rocks to Rockets. Okay? So, enemies anywhere on the planet can be blown away from anywhere else on the planet. And that's the reality of what we're talking about right now. People are able to do that. People in Langley Air Force Base in Virginia or in Maryland, it's all together, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Maryland, all. But they're able now to plot out places on the other side of the earth. And Russia is able to plot out places here in the Americas and just say, okay, if I push this button right here, this will send a rocket all the way over to right there. Oh, na'udhu billah, a'udhu billah. This is very serious we find ourselves into today. Now, after all, these two countries have over 90% of the estimated 15,000 nuclear warheads, bombs, weapons capable of mass destruction. Wait, did I just say that? Weapons of mass destruction. Anyway, well, let's keep going. So that is why they decided to come up with these treaties. Now, the treaties are talking about nuclear war. That's what they have signed, and hopefully, and they've up to now, they've pretty much stayed in agreement with it. But once that door is opened, it's not going to be possible for anybody to close that door again, because the Americas are sitting on one side of the earth and Russia on another side of the earth. So if these two countries start bombing each other or bombing other countries, this is not going to fare well for anybody on the planet. The entire planet would be, and that's maybe why they called it Satan. I don't know, because it looks like, yeah. Anyway, back to the story. We're talking about in general, not just that, but what about other things? Because we didn't mention the chemical weapons like mustard gas, flamethrowers that was used in major and minor wars all around the planet. The 2020's Earth entire population, we all learned something last year about viruses, biological weapons, infectious agents let loose in the battlefield are a very nasty and devious thing to do. But knowingly spreading infectious diseases is over the top in anybody's playbook. It's just not nice. Bacteria and viruses don't choose just enemies. They work on everybody. In 1346, in the Christian era, when the Mongols were attacking the defenders of the Ukraine, a disease struck the Mongols hard, killing many of them. So rather than bury their dead, they threw the bodies over the walls by catapult. Now, what's a catapult? This is the thing that they invented at the time of Ibrahim and threw him into the fire because they couldn't get close enough to the fire to throw him in, and the king had ordered, throw this guy in the fire. And they put him on like a big pole or a tree or something and just made it fly out, made Abraham alayhi salam fly into that fire. And Allah said in the Quran, Allah said, be cool. He didn't say be cold, because then it would have been freezing. He said be cool for Ibrahim. And Ibrahim was in that fire. And an interesting thing about Ibrahim in the fire, the Malaika, the angels, came to the to Prophet Ibrahim and asked, what can we do for you? And he said, I don't need you and I don't need these other angels. All I need Allah. That's amazing, right? So, and Allah protected him and brought him out of there, and he didn't even have one hair on his body singed. So keep this in mind, no matter what is happening in the world. If you're really, really sincerely close to Allah, Allah will take care of you. He will take care of those. Now, sometimes He will let you suffer. And this is a test for believers. And it also can be a way to remove sins from our past mistakes. You know, it's things that we intentionally did. Yeah. So this is a matter for another time, but I wanted to talk about this. The Black Plague, or Black Death as it has also been called, was the very next year, okay? And this is because the plague started with the people of the Ukraine. But then when the plague started getting epidemic form, these people started running away, and they were running away out, and they went into Europe, and they spread this epidemic all over that, and that was the Black Plague. So that lasted for 4 years, from 1347 until 1351. 4 years of this vicious disease. Now, I just talked about over 1 million people dying because of an atomic bomb, remember? That seemed like a lot. But in these 4 years, in the mid-1300s, over 25 million people, innocent people, men, women, children, and babies, all died in Europe. Yes, it was very, very serious. In 1925, the Geneva Protocol banned any and all biological weapons. But at that time, Japan didn't care. Okay, now we see how what goes around comes around. You're going to see that now, right? So at that time, Japan proceeded to use biological weapons against China. Then they did some creative experiments on test subjects. Again, innocent people. And killed another 3,000 people in their tests that they were doing. In 1972, Biological Weapons Convention, that's the BWC. I like this, where they come up with these acronyms, you know. 1972. This BWC offered limited development and limited stockpiling on any and all biological agents. So the Soviet Union signed it and then did exactly the opposite, because they immediately started engaging in massive biological weapons programs from that day that they signed. And yeah, the BWC was not able to go in and do any inspections or enforce the treaty. It was more like a friendly suggestion. Okay, and now, today, so we went from rocks to rockets, spears to spearheaded missiles, tears to terrorists, and germs to genocide. Humans have always found ways to eliminate the bad guys, okay? So the takeaway from this is that the only ones left to tell the story are the ones who killed their enemies. So they must be the good guys, right? Yeah. There's more for the editor's opinion on these kind of topics. You can go to our website, islamnewsroom.com, and find a lot of op-eds. And you can also just come right here to Guidus TV and watch. And you can even get the free app and watch that as well. You can watch 24 hours a day because we broadcast on satellite and it's available on your phones and it costs no money. So we're going to talk about how you can become a dawah partner along with me right now, and then we'll come back with more of Talk About It here on Guidus TV. This is Yusuf Estes, and I'm looking for something. Actually, I'm looking for someone. Is that someone you? I want dawah partners, and you can be my dawah partner right now. It's real easy. Just go to dawahpartners.com, sign up, and join me. There are 3 things that I would like for you to be able to do. Any one of them or all of them. Beautiful. Number 1, you will make dua. So you can be our dawah partner, even if you don't go to the website, but I hope you do. Number 2, share. Share this message and let other people know about becoming dawah partners. And number 3, help us financially. Donate on a monthly basis, even if it's small. Allah loves the thing that you do regularly, even if it's small, more than the thing that you do that's really big, but you only do it once. Join me as a dawah partner. Do it now. Click, 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 click. This is Yusuf Estes, and I'm looking for something. Actually, I'm looking for someone. Is that someone you? And we are back, mashallah ta'ala. And Sister Kim, earlier today I sent you something. Did you get a chance to review it? What did you think?
Yes, I did. It was a fascinating look at the history of Muslim Spain, which a lot of people don't even really know about. They don't realize that the Muslims were in Spain for a large part of their existence, Spain's existence. You know, they think of it as a Spanish country, but they don't think of it as a Moorish country when the Moors came into Spain.
That is one of the things that they did. They used the Moors, and then they used the word in Spanish, moriscos, to even further put them down. The little guys, you know, look at those little, you know, that's the word moriscos comes from Moors, and you're exactly right. Let's put something up here. This is the forgotten history and legacy of Muslim Spain. Again, this is a good reason to share this program with anybody that you know, because as a matter of fact, the more that you can share these kinds of things, the more likely people are going to accept that Muslims really have something going for them. So let's explore that. Sister, go ahead. Tell us.
We still have bad frame rate, by the way.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the most fascinating things about it is that, you know, one of the phrases you hear all the time is that Islam was spread by the sword. And when it came to Spain, there is no denying that there were some fights. But Spain was so oppressed at the time that a lot of the people there welcomed the Muslims with open arms. And they're like, finally, we have some security to live our lives. And so in many places in Spain, the Muslims moved in with the blessings of the people that were already there.
Yeah,
which made
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, which made for a perfect opportunity for these two peoples to come together, and they created some amazing architecture, and their works academic.
Yeah, I was going to show them the map first. Yeah, here's the map.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. this is a map at that time, is a map of Muslim Spain and Andalus. And for over 800 years, almost 800 years, this is how the folks thought about it. So let's take a look. The area that is green is called the Caliphate of Cordoba. And north of that, right on top of it, is the Kingdom of Leon. And then that goes from the left side of the page, or the west, over to the east, or the right side of the page. And that's called the County of Barcelona. And then you can see at the tip of that, up there at the very top right, it says the Kingdom of France. In between, you've got the Kingdom of Navarre and the County of Castile. And the one that I can't read in there is something Bagorca.
Ribagorza.
Huh?
Ribagorca.
Ribagorca. Okay. Anyway, that is the entire Spain, or what we call today, this is Spain and Portugal. But at that time, this is what was ruled. 800 years. Okay? So if you notice now, I'm going to push it up a little bit so you can see that the tip of the south part, the bottom of the screen, look at that. There's a little tip there called Tangier. And Tangiers was, at that time, a part of the Caliphate of Cordoba. Even though today that's called Morocco, yeah, and it's still ruled by Muslims. But at that time, the folks on both sides were all Muslims. And then down into Africa, northern Africa, was all Muslims, all the way from Egypt over to Maghreb. This was an amazing story. So there are many things, but I think that you were talking about the construction of the buildings, and I think that we'll pick up right over there, and I'll turn it back over to you, sister.
Okay, yeah. And the amazing thing is that a lot of these buildings are still standing. If you go to southern Spain today, you can tour a lot of these areas, and a lot of them have been repurposed since Islam was in the area, but they still stand as they did back then, and they've been wonderfully preserved, and the architecture is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But
oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. What I'm showing everybody right now, this is a statue that they have out here of Ibn Rushd. Ibn Rushd is also known as Averroes, one of the greatest minds in history of Spain, and he was from Andalusia. Andalus, or Andalusia, is a place that many famous Muslims came from this area, and they did so amazing things in medicine and in astronomy, and some of the science that we know today was a result of these people and what they did at that time. So for the Muslims who will say to me, oh, look at that statue, we have to destroy it, I want to put a stop on you right now. Take a chill pill. Because these statues are now not under the Muslim control, okay? These statues are there, and for whatever reason or purpose, they don't belong to Muslims anymore, all right? So take a seat here and relax, and just understand that these people are paying tribute to somebody in a big way that they know how to do, all right? But let's not get all excited about that right now. Anyway, go ahead, sister.
One of the other things, like you touched upon, was due to the peace that was in the region during the Muslim period. They had huge strides in academia. Their knowledge of medicine, their knowledge of physics, their knowledge of chemistry, their knowledge of astronomy was so far beyond the rest of Europe. And many great schools were open in this region, and academics flocked there. And it was a huge place for academia. And, when a lot of Europe was continued to be, considered to be in the Dark Ages, that was not the case in Moorish Spain. They were having a golden age of knowledge and hygiene and everything that the rest of Europe, such as Germany and Italy and France and stuff like that, was not enjoying.
Yeah, I think that there are some reliefs that we can look at too as well, and kind of get the essence of what these people were trying to preserve along the way. This is talking about the African Muslims, and these were actually the people of that time were considered like heroes. The Africans who came forward out of this, these were not slaves. These were the people that were empowered to do a lot. And that's what, and this is shown in the relief. Again, I understand that we Muslims take exception to images, pictures, and things like that. But I didn't make them and you didn't make them, so just take a look at this and share this with other people so that they can get an idea about when we talk about racism. Yeah, that's and if you say, well, some Muslims today and this and that, okay, you're talking about people, you're not talking about Islam anymore. Whenever you talk about women who don't wear proper hijab, or whenever you talk about men who talk about women who don't wear proper hijab, or whether you're talking about the people that are talking about the people that are talking about the haram stuff, take a chill pill again, because this is not an appropriate thing for us to do. This is for us to use this chance to share a message. I want people to know about our Spanish history. I've got a reason for that, but I'll talk about it later. Sister, go ahead.
Yeah, that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is, they hear about Islam today and the prohibition of images and things like that, but it wasn't understood the same way back during the Moorish occupation of Spain. And they had a explosion of artistic styles during that time. And, we understand, we've seen from their architecture that mirrors a lot of what we see in the Middle East with the arches and the Islamic calligraphy and things like that. But yes, they also made statues, they made paintings, they made bas-reliefs, and these things still exist today. And while a lot of Muslims would say that's not what we are anymore, they are a piece of history. And we have a glimpse into their life due to these creations that we wouldn't have if they were destroyed. And so, and we gain a lot of understanding of our own history thanks to these images. And so, in my opinion, for what it's worth, we should preserve them so that not only do we know our own history, but we can also use them to teach history to non-Muslims.
Well, I'm going to take exception to that, because if it was up to me, I would go along with the Muslims who say that at least let's not make any more of them. And if people want
yes,
to come
I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't want us to make it, because if these are already there. I did not share the opinion of the time when the Taliban wanted to blow up the statue of Buddha, because that thing was an ancient thing there in Afghanistan, and all the Afghanis had left it there for eons of time. Then all of a sudden they held the statue. They kidnapped the statue and held it a prisoner, basically. And they were talking about that they wanted this or that to be done and so on. And if you're not gonna come through, then we're gonna shoot a cannon at it. And they showed the missile that they were gonna shoot at it and made it a video. And then they did that. Well, let's take a phone call. Let's see. Somebody wants to talk about it. Salam alaikum. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, salam alaikum.
How are you, my dear brother?
Alhamdulillah. We're talking about Spain and the Andalusia and all of the wonderful things about Spain. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard a lot about Muslim Spain, right?
Not a lot, but what I'm watching on the show, what I'm getting from this is the importance of sharing Muslim history with the rest of the world so that they can understand a lot more about us. And the other thing is, when you're looking at these statues, it depends on what you're doing with them. If they're there to show us what it was, is one thing, but nobody's worshiping these statues. So really, some people need to take a chill pill.
Hey, I like that. I don't want people to get the idea that I'm saying, okay, go ahead and have statues, because that is one thing that we don't allow in our house, and we don't allow the images to be displayed. But we allow for our children to play with toys that look like little teddy bears and things like that, because, as you said, that it's not for worship. However, and I see that somebody is starting to build superstitions about something like that, then I want to come in there and say, oh, hold on. One of the things that we can do, we live in a world today that is very cosmopolitan, and we have a lot of people from different places coming together. And so if we are going to take a hard line, then we're going to drive people away, and we might even be driving some Muslims away from Islam by doing that. So at the same time that I'm going to tell you that I don't like to have a big image or pictures on my wall of people, of animals, and things like that, I do enjoy seeing a picture of a tree, a flower, something like this, and I don't have a big problem with that. Now, some people, they don't want a picture of anything at all, just a stark room, empty room, but it looks too much like a prison to me. I don't know, maybe because I worked in prisons so long. But there are a number of things that are a lot worse than that, than having these images, you know. I think that we could find a whole lot worse. And as I'm talking, I'd like to show some pictures here of Spain. During the time of the Muslims, they did build a lot of masajid. And here's one of them right here. This is called Ibrahim al-Ibrahim Masjid, or Mosque. This is in Gibraltar. Now, it's interesting. Do you know, Brother Habib, where the word Gibraltar comes from?
No, I don't.
It's Arabic. Yeah, because this is the mountain that Tariq bin Zayed had to climb over. This was the mountain that they called Jabal Tariq. Jabal means mountain in Arabic. Jabal Tariq is what they called it. And then, of course, when the next folks come in, they'll mispronounce it, maybe sometimes because they don't understand or because they don't want to understand. But anyway, they started calling it Jabal Tariq. And then the next people called it Gibraltar. Yeah, that's where yep, that's where it came from. Tariq bin Zayed is the one who led the conquest into Spain after the death of the Prophet ﷺ some generations later. But if they would have kept going, then all of Europe would have succumbed to Islam. But anyway, it wasn't meant to be. The Jabal Tariq Muslims, Kurd, they're called Kurd. That's not, don't confuse this with Kurd, or as in Kurdish, but the monkeys are called Kurds. And this is on Jabal Tariq, right there. You see that in the back, the background, that where it goes up, and I'll show you a different picture of it. There you go. You can see this real clear. There you go. That's the peak of Jabal Tariq, Gibraltar.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, now, the reason that I wanted to talk about Spain is because my own family has a heritage from Spain, from the Muslims, that I didn't even know about until I had been Muslim for 10 years, over 10 years. And my own daughter was looking up stuff, trying to find out something about our name, Estes. It turns out that Estes was spelled E-S-T-A-S in the UK. And before that, it was spelled E-U-S-T-A-Z, or Staz. And before that, yeah, you can tell, for those of you who know anything about the old Persian language, Ostez, or the Turkish language, Ostez means a professor. And this was the name of my ancestors when they escaped from the persecution in Spain and they went up to England. And it was a note there telling that they had claimed, some of them claimed, of course, to be teachers. Others claimed that they were from D'Este in Italy, and that there was some kind of problem there. People in those days didn't have the communication, so they could say whatever they wanted to. But some of them said they were D'Este. And yeah, but that wasn't true. The ones that said Estes, they were Ostez. That was the real name that we had. So, yeah, we came from Spain. And I didn't even know that until 10 years after I was in Islam. I don't think that would have motivated me either way to go into Islam or not go into Islam, but it is interesting to know about your heritage. MashaAllah. All right. What else do you have for us, Brother Habib?
Oh, what do I have for us? Well, for me, when I'm looking at history, because, you know, living in Canada, you look at the history of the War of 1812 and things like this. But when I look at history, there's a lot of actually good things that happened in history that we should focus on that improved people's lives. And so when you look at the different, people that were in Islam that improved people's lives around them, not just Muslims, but everybody in general, this makes a big difference.
Yeah. One of the things that we could tell people right away is about the 5 million Muslims. We were talking about millions of people that died. 5 million Muslims disappeared. And not all of them ran away. Most of them were tortured to death or killed or forced to convert to Catholicism. Because whenever the Catholic Church sent out these troops, they ordered them that anybody who was not Catholic was a pagan and to kill them. And they tried to convert all of the Muslims of Spain to be Catholics. And that it went for the Jews and for the other Christians that were there who were not part of that. This was before the time of the Protestants. The Protestants are the one who left the Catholic Church. But there were others. There were Orthodox Christians, and many of the Orthodox Christians lived in the Holy Land in Palestine. And when the Catholic Church went into there, they tried their best to change all of that over, and well, they found out that they couldn't do that, even though there were bloodbaths, so much so that they had blood up onto the saddles of their horses. And yeah, but the people there would not give up. And that's when Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi came with his troops, and as soon as he was in control, he let them all go back. And that is a very big part of history. We were talking earlier about how people like to kill everybody so that they can tell the story their way, but he wasn't that way. They did. Some of the people that were attacking the Catholics went out so far as to attack a group of people that were going for pilgrimage. Now, if you know anything about pilgrimage in those days, people went with just what they had on their backs. They didn't take a lot of clothing or a lot of stuff with them, and they sure didn't take any weapons because they didn't like the idea of having weapons, even though they were allowed to have weapons with them. This was a big change, that when the Prophet ﷺ came along and he told them what Allah says in the Quran. And it's very clear that you can defend yourself against these marauders and so on who are attacking you if you're going for pilgrimage. So anyway, his daughter, Salah ad-Din Ayyubi's daughter, was with the group of Muslims that were going for pilgrimage. And these guys came in and slaughtered them all. Killed them all. Helpless people. So when Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi found who these guys were that did this, he said, I just want one person, the one that killed my daughter. And that is the person that he personally killed, that person, for killing his daughter. And that was the story that we heard. Now, there are stories that sometimes get twisted around. So if anybody knows different stories or different versions of the stories, you can call us any night that you'd like, because we're live on the air every single night at this time, 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock on the East Coast, and 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock on the West Coast. And with that, I think we're about ready to wrap it all up. Sister Kim, do you have anything to offer for us before we wrap up?
Only that I encourage Muslims and non-Muslims alike to read about Muslim history, especially in Spain, and areas that Islam spread to, so that you've got a good understanding of Muslim history. It is absolutely fascinating. And, you know, I encourage it to everybody. It's something that's not taught in schools anymore. You know, you have to really seek it out in colleges. But if you want a good read, start researching it. And I think that you'll enjoy it greatly.
Okay, and as always, everybody stay tuned and stay guided with
Guide Us TV.
Yeah!
Guide Us TV, first Islam channel in U.S.
Thanks to all of you for watching, sharing, and spending your time with us on Guide Us TV. And remember, tell everyone, stay guided with Guide Us TV.
Stay guided with Guide Us TV.
This is Yusuf Estes, and I'm looking for something. Actually, I'm looking for someone. Is that someone you? I want dawah partners, and you can be my dawah partner right now. It's real easy. Just go to dawahpartners.com, sign up, and join me. There are 3 things that I would like for you to be able to do. Any one of them or all of them. Beautiful. Number 1, you will make dua. So you can be our dawah partner, even if you don't go to the website, but I hope you do. Number 2, share. Share this message and let other people know about becoming dawah partners. And number 3, help us financially. Donate on a monthly basis, even if it's small. Allah loves the thing that you do regularly, even if it's small, more than the thing that you do that's really big, but you only do it once. Join me as a dawah partner. Do it now. Click, 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 click.